Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivaradhari Jana Ballava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Varṇachari Yamuna Tira Varṇachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Varṇachari Yamuna Tira Varṇachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivakajaratar Sishima, His Divine Grace Sri Lacey Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivakajaratar Sishima, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai. Shri Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Sri Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Lord Shiva Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, Go Premananda Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sagana Lagnita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Brindavanishwari Prishavana Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, first chapter entitled Observing the Armies, text number 40. I'm allergic to that kind of flower. It's getting up my nose already. So, yes. So Arjuna is trying to argue his case. Please repeat. Adharmābhibhavāt. Kṛṣṇa praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ strīṣu duṣṭāsu vārṣṇeya jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ strīṣu duṣṭāsu vārṣṇeya jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ strīṣu duṣṭāsu vārṣṇeya jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ.
Adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa Adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ strīṣu duṣṭāsu vārṣṇeya jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ varṇa-saṅkaraḥ.
jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ. adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa.
adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa.
praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ.
praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ.
strīṣu duṣṭāsu vṛṣṇeya. jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ.
adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa.
adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa.
praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ.
praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ.
strīṣu duṣṭāsu vṛṣṇeya.
strīṣu duṣṭāsu vṛṣṇeya.
jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ.
adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa. praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ. strīṣu duṣṭāsu vṛṣṇeya. jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ.
Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ. strīṣu duṣṭāsu vṛṣṇeya. jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ.
Okay. Word for word. Please repeat. Adharma, irreligion, abhibhavāt, having become predominant. Kṛṣṇa, O Kṛṣṇa, praduṣyanti, become polluted. Kula-striyaḥ, family ladies. Strīṣu, by the womanhood. duṣṭāsu, being so polluted. Vṛṣṇeya, O descendant of Vṛṣṇi. Jāyate, comes into being. varṇa-saṅkaraḥ, unwanted progeny. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Kṛṣṇa, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vṛṣṇi, comes unwanted progeny. Please repeat. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Kṛṣṇa, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vṛṣṇi, comes unwanted progeny. So that's Bhagavad Gita 1.40. So, Purport Srila Prabhupada. Good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. The Varṇāśrama religion's principles were so designed that the good population would prevail in society for the general spiritual progress of state and community. Such population depends on the chastity and faithfulness of its womanhood. Interesting point, huh? As women are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, women will not be misled into adultery. According to Cāṇakya Paṇḍita, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the varṇāśrama system. On the failure of such varṇāśrama-dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with men, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence. So, hot purport in the modern age. Mukam karochi pachalam pangam laite grim yad kripa tamaham vande Sri Gurun dinatarinam. Adharmābhibhavāt Kṛṣṇa praduṣyanti kula-striyaḥ strīṣu duṣṭāsu vārṣṇeya jāyate varṇa-saṅkaraḥ. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Kṛṣṇa, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vṛṣṇi, comes unwanted population. So, yes. So, Arjuna is giving Kṛṣṇa arguments that he shouldn't fight. His first one was, it's bad karma, I don't want to kill all these people. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, Kṛṣṇa, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how should we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? You see, what should we gain? And then he calls Kṛṣṇa, O husband of the goddess of fortune. It's very interesting, huh? It's talking about wealth. We will gain wealth, but what will we gain? You're the husband of the goddess of fortune, so how will we be happy by such wealth? Right? Although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or guardians with friends, why should we, who can see the evil of destroying such humanity, engage in these terrible sins? Huh? So all these arguments, they're very convenient. In this, particularly in Kali Yuga, people believe and say and act in accordance with what is convenient. People want to believe what is convenient to their situation. They don't want to change. In Bhagavatam it is explained that this is the avranatmika buddhi and prasatmika buddhi. Prasatmika buddhi means the intelligence is thrown into a confused state and it has a mistaken opinion. Varṇa-saṅkaraḥ buddhi means that this mistaken opinion, interpretation of reality, whatever, shastra, gurus, directions, that this misinterpretation is avranatmika, it's considered to be correct. So the ignorant people, particularly in Kali Yuga, manda samanda matayo manda bhagya uparita, they have all sorts of false opinions, nescient ideas. But the problem is that they think they're correct. Right? So therefore everyone is arguing and fighting and even physically fighting and debating. But they're not debating honestly. They're debating according to a convenient twist in logic, their own ideas. The aim is not to get the absolute truth, atato brahma jignas, which should be the endeavor of a human being in every situation, not to understand Brahman. Brahman is spirit, the supreme. It is also truth. And that should be the preoccupation. But in ignorance, in Kali Yuga particularly, people have lost that conception of the endeavor for human life to understand that which is absolute truth. Absolute, what does it mean? Absolute means unconditioned, unrestricted, independent of all other aspects, all other entities, that which is absolute, self-sustaining, self-manifesting, independent and perfect. That is absolute. So the truth is independent of our opinionation, of our guesswork. In Kali Yuga, instead of referring to Shastra, Acharyas and bona fide Guru, people speculate, they theorize about what should be good for society, what should be good for me. They do not study the Shastra and use the mind to understand the words of the Shastra and the Acharyas and the Guru and Siddhakon. They do not become Shastra Chakshus. This is the beginning stage of darshan, to see through the Shastra. Arjuna got divya gyan, divya chakshus. He got divine vision. As we talked about last Friday, Tene Brahma Hridaye Adhikavaye, that Lord Brahma was enlightened within the heart, or so much tapasya, but Kṛṣṇa gave him the understanding. Matak smrite jnanam apohanam cha. It comes, the proper understanding comes by the grace of Kṛṣṇa. Spurti. We perform sadhana, sevan mukhi jivado, but ultimately the catalyst or the gift is Kṛṣṇa's mercy. He gives us the right understanding. So, detachment is very important. Detachment from understanding our material conditioning. Now in this verse here, in the purport, there is very good information. Yes, women should be treated very nicely and they protected, but they should be saved from degradation. And like children are easily misled, so also women are easily misled. And modern day philosophy and speculative philosophy is misleading women. Not so much in India, but in the West, in America particularly. I'm not from America, thank God, but women are equal, right? So what is our response? Sounds good, sounds very seductive. I'm equal. Well, our philosophy is achincha bhed abhed. That means women are equal, but they're different. This is our philosophy in every way. Yes, we're equal. We're all spirit soul. We're all jivatma. We're all angsa of Kṛṣṇa. We're all equal. But there is variety, right? Some men are, and some women, some men, or all souls, they have different material capabilities, material propensities. They have different levels of spiritual realization, spiritual application. So the demoniac idea is that everything is one. The demons love the Brahman conception. Why? Because it's impersonal. As soon as you make the absolute truth personal, Paramatma or Bhagavan, then that person who is the absolute, supreme, unconditioned, is going to make demands. And I don't want the demoniac think. They're repulsed by the idea that there is a person supreme, superior to me. So therefore, I have a natural proclivity to believe in some transcendental origin, but I will believe in an impersonal origin. I will become conveniently attached to an impersonal conception of the absolute truth. Because that energy field, that amorphous field, nirguna, nirvisesh, nirguna means without quality, nirvisesh, it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, in the Vedas, can't make demands on me. In fact, not only that, because I'm a person and a person is superior to energy, just like I have energy, This is the demoniac person. So I am superior to my energy. So by my tapasya, like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, I will grab this Brahman energy to such an extent that I will defeat Vishnu. I will become God. So this is very nice for the impersonalist, impersonal philosophy. And therefore, as you all know, you are all learned devotees, the impersonalist Mayavadi goes to the same region as the demon. Beyond into Vaikuntha. So they become purified by their meditation on Brahman or by some contact with Kṛṣṇa on the battlefield, but they cannot go to the level of bhakti, because bhakti means interaction with the Supreme Person, and initially in the first stage of interaction we are very much subordinate. So therefore we worship Kṛṣṇa in the beginning period of sadhana from a position of He is the Supreme Lord, He is the source of everything, He is the source of me. This is the beginning of Bhagavatam. We've mentioned this point many times. If you want to understand, beginning point in the Bhagavatam is Janmadhyashyata, the Supreme. He's Supreme because He is the source. I am not my source. Just like many Indian people, they ask me, maybe 4 or 5 a day, if I stand in the street, where you come from? Where are you coming from? So bloke Bhagavan say, Hari, everyone is coming from God. But they think, oh, you should say Ireland or England or this place. I come from Hong Kong, can't you see? So actually, if we look a little deeper to this question, we can see that they are actually looking for the source. Why this particular question, right? They are asking, what is your source? Therefore, what is the source? So, Srimad Bhagavatam starts with this point. The source is the Supreme. Because He is the independent, unchallenged, independent source of everything. And therefore, all elements of creation are His plaything. He's not subordinate to logic. He's not subordinate to power, to strength. But He's subordinate to one thing. You're all devotees. What is subordinate? The love of His devotee. So, ajita jitasya. He is unconquerable, but He's conquered by the love of His devotees. And this shows like the wonderful nature of the Absolute Truth. That He's conquered by the love of His devotees, by His unconditional love. He's even conquered by a devotee that approaches Him sakam, with some desire. Oh, what's that verse in Bhagavatam? Akama savakama muksha kama udharyadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. That whether you have no material desire, or you desire liberation from material desire, then the intelligent soul, the person in knowledge, fortunate one, he will worship Purusham Param, the Supreme Person, which is presented in the Veda. And the Supreme Person is the person who is the source of everything. It's as simple as that. Therefore, that's what Lord Brahma meditated upon, right? When he came out of Susupti on the lotus flower at the beginning of the manifestation of this periodic universe, his thought was, what is my origin? He went into the stem of the lotus flower. What is my origin? Then he heard tapa. So he understood by intuition within the heart, now I have to meditate on my source. So therefore he spoke the Brahma Samhita, 5th part, Govindam Adi Purisham. The original person. And then at the beginning he says, Anadir Adir Govinda. He is the source of all entities, all living beings. He is the source. He is the Ishvara. He's Sarvakarana. Everything is resting upon him. So we should follow in the footsteps of Lord Brahma like that. That's what I say. We may not have attained bhava, bhakti, rasa, may not be cascading in our heart, but the entrance to Vaikuntha and bhava bhakti is by understanding Kṛṣṇa is the source of everything. And if we meditate in that way, swayameva spuriyada, that Kṛṣṇa will give us that realization. We will see, because that is the absolute truth. So, bhava bhakti, bhakti seva, seva bhakti, or bhakti seva. The attitude of service is the entrance to Vaikuntha and to the realization of Kṛṣṇa. It is the way to capture Kṛṣṇa's heart. Therefore Kṛṣṇa says before Sarvadharma Prijajya, he says, Manmana bhavavat bhakto. I'm going to tell you, Arjuna, the big secret now, because you're my friend and you're never envious. I'll tell you how you can get control of me. And he's telling us through Arjuna, Manmana, yes, put your consciousness upon me, but in a devotional way. So if we meditate on Kṛṣṇa as our source, our Supreme Father, then we will naturally feel some devotion. In this material world, we are thinking, this man and woman are my mother and father. We're not thinking the Supreme Source is our origin. We're conditioned. And we're thinking, yes, my mother and father are the source of me. I have obligation to them. I can't do anything better than serve them. Of course, that has been destroyed nowadays by the Rakshasas. Don't serve your mother and just do it, whatever you want. If you suppress your material desires, you become neurotic, right? This is the new philosophy of today. Therefore, if you want to dress as a woman, dress as a woman. If you want to be a man, then leave the family behind. Be a woman in the business world and make your mark and die. So this is the ideas of the demons, the Rakshasas. They are against the personality of Godhead, and they are against the variety in the creation of the Supreme Lord, in the spiritual world and in the material world. They want to make everything one. They want to break the family apart. They want the man to be subordinate to the woman subordinate to the man, the children in charge of this, don't do this and that. But be subordinate to me, because I am Ravana and I am the leader of society. You will own nothing and be happy. I am in charge. Your woman, your wife, belongs to me. You, the husband, belongs to me. I should be worshipped. And you, your children, I will educate them. I will educate them about homosexuality, lesbian life. Right? This is what's going on. This is not an exaggeration. I will turn them all into an amorphous, confused crew. And by violence and propaganda and repeated miseducation, they will look to me as the leader. This is actually their mentality. They are against the Supreme Source, the Supreme Person, and they're against all the principles in creation. And those are in varṇāśrama. Varṇāśrama is made It is the duties, construction for a properly functioning human society. So there are various principles there about how a man and a woman can interact, what roles they should play. But they are not a straitjacket. We should always remember that. Because they are suggested and put forward strongly by the Supreme Lord for the benefit of society, but they must always be adjusted according to the persons involved. Right? You can't just say, it says in the Shastra, you should do that, you should do that. Everything must be applied with wisdom and kindness. So Arjuna, he's a learned devotee, so he accepts all these varieties. And he's making the point, look, if I kill all the leaders of society, who's going to look after the women? Because generally women rely on their sustenance for men. Even though now they're encouraged to go and work in a factory or an office, usually they end up under a boss, a male boss anyway. So instead of serving the husband and doing the glorious thing, bringing up children like fresh flowers in the garden, they're brainwashed, thinking, if you get a job in a factory or an office, it'll be more fulfilling than having children. That's the propaganda, is it not? In the West now, it'll be coming into, it's trying to come in, but in India people are not so stupid. They're not so easily, as Prabhupada says here, misled. Why? Because they have some bhakti sukriti, they have belief in Ram, the Manusha Leela. Ram loved his wife, he did everything to protect her. He didn't just think, never mind, I divorce her, I'll get another one. That's what's going on now. No relationship, no sense of duty. The children, women, it's just a piece of flesh, kill it. You become pregnant, perform abortion. There's no reaction, right? This is what's going on. And have we seen society improve? Actually, I remember many years ago, before I even came to Krishna consciousness, I read a review of a book. And this idea of women's liberation, it was created after the Second World War, because the financial elite saw that, all the men are being slaughtered on the battlefield and the women in the factories. So after the war, we'll keep the women in the factories and there'll be more of a tax base. And we'll break society apart. Yes. And then we'll get more money and the men will, and we'll become, it's all deliberately planned. These ideas like feminism, they don't just pop out of the ether or naturally grow from society. They're planned by the Rakshasas of Kali Yuga. You should understand that. And people are misled easily because they're not educated in varṇāśrama principles, how men and women should interact, what their duties are. And in this section, and Prabhupada mentions it there, that women should be very careful in the traditions of a society, of their family, kula-striyaḥ. And you'll generally find that the women are very interested in, we must have a nice wedding and we must invite that family member and this family member, they should sit here and this should be done. They're very much into that kind of cultural, societal behavior. The men may be discussing politics, but the women want to see things done nicely. Right? Therefore in the newspapers, I don't know about in India or in Hindi, but in the West, all the questions ask Mabel or something, and she gives advice. How the table should be set, where the men should, right? You know what I mean? So that is the woman dharma, kula-striyaḥ, family dharma. They are supposed to be the queen of the family situation and maintain the culture. If you look in 4th canto, the teachings, Prithu Maharaj, and the purports there, also in the text, it explained that between man and woman, man has 3 duties in relationship to woman and children. 1, he should protect the woman and children. Protect, right? Women and children first, right? That's natural for a man. He'll stand in front of the bull to protect his wife and children. If he's still a man, if he hasn't been estranized. And then his second duty is to maintain. He should provide maintenance. And he'll become very proud and happy about that. If you go to the restaurant, you see the man, he's paying for his wife and kids, and he pays the bill very happily. Look at me, I'm supporting the wife and kids. And he feels happiness and fulfilled. Maintenance. And then third thing, he should be the guide of the family. He should know spiritual knowledge. He should have a spiritual knowledge. And he should know the dasamula tattva. He should know the spiritual truths. And then he should educate the children. And the wife also has 3. 1, she should trust the husband. She should take shelter of the trust in a faithful way. Meaning that the man should act in such a way that the woman naturally trusts. When a girl is born, well, who's the first man in her life? The father. What does the father do? Stated in the Shastra, there's nothing so dear to a man as his daughter, actually. Man usually has great affection for the kindness, femininity and sweetness of his daughter. He may chastise the son, but he wants to protect his daughter and see that she is happy. This is number 1 thing for a man. So he should be in such a position, he should be so sober and reliable that the woman's natural trust is that he is now my father. I've left my father from childhood, and now this is my new protector. And then the second thing is that she should be chaste. She should only see her husband as the only man in her life. Everybody else is the son. And then the third duty of the woman is she should be compliant to the directions of the husband. Of course, these are general principles. They can discuss what to do, what the program is. But generally, she should let the man make the decisions. But of course, like I said before, this is general principles. And then that format, if it is understood, then it gives a format for the family, the mother and father, to interact. Now it may be applied differently here and there in different ways, but the family, the wife and the husband, they should understand these general principles. And these are principles given by the Supreme Lord. Who is the first woman in a boy's life or a daughter's life? The mother. What does the mother do? She nurtures the children. So this should not just be in the subliminal natural function, but the father should understand, I am the protector of my family. And the mother, the wife, should think, I am the nurturer of even my husband. My husband is working out in the day, getting sustenance, maintenance. Now when he comes home, I should treat him as a child and nurture him. And if he says something wrong, I should forgive him just like I forgive my children. And then the husband comes under the control of the devotion of the wife in this way. So these principles are there. They're in the Vedas and they work. Because everyone is, according to their conditioning, has certain proclivities and tendencies. but they should be educated into society. But they should be applied very kindly and with knowledge and understanding, not from the basis of fanatic insistence. It must be according to guidance of elders. So this is Arjuna's point. If all this family natural situation is broken up, if the elders of the family are gone, who will protect the women? And if the women are polluted, we'll get varṇa-saṅkaraḥ. He couldn't even mention the idea of abortion, or killing which is even being mentioned. It's just considered natural nowadays. So this is the society that has gone so far away from the principles enunciated in varṇāśrama. The principles in the Vedas for the progress of human society. And as Prabhupada mentioned there, peace and prosperity. If there's no peace, then there is no ability to develop spiritual knowledge in a greater way. If there's no peace, everyone is just trying to survive instead of developing realization of the Supreme. They're just trying to keep themselves away. And this is what's going on nowadays. The Rakshasas in charge of governments are taxing people to death. They're inventing a new taxation system every year. They're not satisfied. But what does Kṛṣṇa says in the divine and demonic nature? He says, so much wealth do I have today, he is my enemy, I've killed him. He is my enemy and I will kill him. I will increase my wealth day by day. This is the demoniac mentality. Because by Dhanam I will have power. Then I'll have societal status. Then I'll have sex life unlimitedly. This is the demoniac. It's there in the Gita. You can see it now, right? Oh, don't discipline yourself according to the advice of Supreme Lord in the Vedas. Just become completely, don't do that. You become neurotic. If a man dresses as a man, that's toxic masculinity, right? That's what they have now. Oh, you want to protect your wife? You're some kind of fascist, masculine throwback to the cave. This is actually the argumentation. And the women, so lost, taking birth control pills, right? Killing the womb, child in the womb, they just don't know what to do. They run to the government, please save me. And don't think it's accidental. It's deliberate. You break the family unit, which is the building block of society, then you break society like a demolished building. So this is Arjuna's point. It's a valid point. It's a valid point. But it is convenient to the fact that he has a duty to his family that he's forgetting. Yes, they're arrayed, Kṛṣṇa says, but they're arrayed against your family. And Yudhisthira and you, the Pandavas and Queen Kunti, you are my devotees. And my plan is to establish Yudhisthira on the throne instead of this Duryodhana expansion of Kali Yuga. And you as a Kshatriya have a duty to perform as a Kshatriya. So Arjuna, you've got to man up, as they say. You've got to do your duty. You can't just run from the battlefield, quoting all sorts of subsidiary principles. Because the ultimate principle is to use human life to realize the absolute truth, not to invent philosophies through speculation that is convenient to the situation, that suits my sense gratification. These are the points Prabhupada makes, that Arjuna is thinking what's convenient to me. He's not thinking the higher principles. So the lower principles are subordinate to the higher principles. And the highest principle is that in human life you have a duty to the Supreme Lord, because in human life you can realize your relationship with the Supreme Lord. You can see the Supreme Lord, first through Shastra, and then through the mercy of Guru and the mercy of Kṛṣṇa himself. You can realize the absolute truth. And that will take you out of this land of mental speculation and sensuality. Because ultimately, we're not men and women. They're all arguing nowadays on the basis men should do this, women should do that. But they're not men, they're not women. And your spiritual form, your spiritual relationship, whether it is male or female in the spiritual world, has no relationship to your material form. It's not that the men in the material world will become masculine devotees in the spiritual world, or vice versa. There's no relationship. This is a transient, what does Bhakti denote? Jiva, Jago, Gora, Chandra, Bole. Kota, Nitra, Maya, Pisa, Chira, Kole. What does the Bhagavatam say? Right at the beginning. Sava opadi venir muktam tat paratrena nirmalam. If you want to actually be a devotee, you have to overcome the idea, I'm this material body. When you're shaving your face, or women don't do that, but in the morning you should be telling yourself, this is my vehicle. This is my covering. We should have something on the mirror. You are not the body as you're brushing your teeth. Prabhupada was once asked, Prabhupada, you're always saying we're not the body. And Prabhupada said, paraphrasing, he said, that's because you don't understand you're not the body. I have to keep repeating it. Right, Sava parivinir muktam tat paratrena nirmalam rishikena sevanam bhakta ucha sevanam. You're supposed to be meant to search for the service of Rishikesh. You're not meant to just spend your time chasing the right and wrong in the material world. You're meant to be fixed on the absolute truth. So in Kali Yuga, Manda Samanda Mateo. What does that mean? Manda means very slow, less intelligent. It particularly means they're slow to apply their intelligence, what they have, to spiritual matters. Sumanda, they're lazy at understanding things. Sumanda Mandeo. Manda Bhagya. And then even if they try for spiritual knowledge or they have some interest, Manda Bhagya, unfortunate. They get some bogus Swami or some bogus this or bogus this, or they get some bogus book. Hiupadruta. And their minds are disturbed. So what is the solution? Philosophy is second level. First level is prasadam and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So that goes for me, it goes for everyone. We should never think, oh no, I've heard I'm not the body, therefore I'm not the body. Ooh, I'm starving. Let me go and have 10 paratha. No, we should understand that. We should understand. We should be absorbed, atato, like we said last week, at every moment. We should be absorbed in spiritual knowledge. We should be inquiring in the absolute truth at every time. And we should be inquiring with affection. Manmana bhava madbhakto, doing everything as an offering to Kṛṣṇa, mam namaskare, and at the same time giving respect to all living entities as the part and parcel of Kṛṣṇa. That is the path of bhakti. And when we talk about service, it doesn't mean that we have to do some physical service necessarily. Shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu, smaranam, padasevanam. Just you're doing service now by listening. I'm doing service just by talking. Kirtan means to describe. So whatever we hear, we describe. That is service. And then from this hearing and chanting, describing about Kṛṣṇa, doing kirtan, this and that, smaranam will naturally come. And the mind will, cetadapanam, we will get some perception of the absolute truth. And we will know it's the absolute truth by direct realization. Tene brahma-hridaye. And we'll know, I'm learning something. And that's what all devotees are sustained by, is it not? Right? All of us? Because we are feeling, wow, I'm learning something. And then padasevanam. Padasevanam, 3 levels. Service that is basically using the body, like making a garland, cleaning the road, but you're still using the mind. But then there's manasik seva, and then there is seva within the svarup. So these are sevanam bhakti uchyate. So they're progressive. And it starts, like we said last week, pramana sad-acharas nirantaram. We have to know the philosophy, we have to study the words of the acharyas, then we have to sadachar, we have to develop good behavior, and we have to be constantly perseverant in our application. So, thank you very much. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I got all this stuff about Lord Shiva. Maybe next time we'll talk about Lord Shiva. But we got going. But this verse is very nice because that's the Bhagavad Gita. It's always applicable. Even 5,000 years old book, it's telling us. The acharyas are telling us. So any question?
One question. If we are part of society...
Excuse me?
If we are part of society, and we are, right, with our material bodies, how we should improve the situation you described, You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
Yeah, that's what these demons are saying now. Well, first of all, you'll never be happy, because the materialist is aham-mameti, right? You know that. I am this body, and things related to this body are mine. And because they're related to my mind, to my body, my wife, my house, then I'm happy. And I have an inspiration in life. Because I have an impetus to look after. As Prabhupada said, possession turns sand to gold. If you have a motorbike and it belongs to the temple or somebody else, you drive it, you don't really check the oil or the tire pressure. But if it's your motorbike, you get it serviced properly, you check the tires, you do everything nicely, you clean it, you take pride in it. So they say you will own nothing. Aham-mameti is the material mentality. We take care of everything because it belongs to Kṛṣṇa. But these demons, they can't go anywhere near that. But then they have these, you see, they don't believe in the soul. You know the communist idea? Re-education. They don't believe in what we were talking about, the Supreme Lord and the principles that are in society, that are in a man, in a woman. They don't believe in that. They believe it's a chunk of matter. And it can be reprogrammed just like you reprogram a computer. You take out Windows and you put in Linux. That's what they think. We'll give you drugs and you'll be happy. Right? Working in the factory. We'll be in the yachts and flying in the sky, but you'll be happy. You won't have anything. You'll just have a digital ID. And if you get out of line, we're going to kill you. And even if we don't get out of line, we'll give you some vaccination that will kill you. There's literally millions of people dying from stroke now. We have to understand, this is the Rakshasas, and it's deliberate. They all came out with the vaccination within weeks of each other. 4 companies. Is that just by chance? You have to understand, people are so brainwashed by television. But the point is, it is always a failure, just like in communism. I was in Russia in 1976, 77, and I could see the people who were miserable. They're just working with a grey face. And Marx was once asked, what is communism in essence? And he said, no private property. Do you know that quote? That means you own nothing. It belongs to the state. And you belong to the state. And you will live here, you will get this job, you will do that. You are a slave. So that's communism. Communism is a way to control people. And that's the idea of the Rakshasa. We're printing the money. We have no problem there. But we want to control. We want to be the supreme. We want to enact the proper structure of society. Not man and woman lovingly cooperating and loving their children and progressing in peace and prosperity. We've got a better idea. Do what you're told. Right? But it fell apart, right? I heard that there was an expression in Russian, in communist Russia, we can't go on living like this. Even the vodka isn't making us feel better, right? Yeah. So you can't, because we are not blobs of matter that can be reprogrammed. We have a soul. So we naturally intuit what's right and wrong. We naturally have a morality. And according to karma, we have different activities. If we have men and women, they naturally have a feeling and loving attitude towards their children, and they want to progress and develop in life. They want to express themselves. But they don't want that. Because they're a minority and they fear the numbers. They've got everything under control, starting with the central banks, but they haven't got the majority. So they want to kill off. This is not just conspiracy theory. The last few years it's practical and obvious. They want to reduce the population so that they're easily manipulatable. They're not a threat. But they will fail, just like Duryodhana failed, just like Ravana failed, Hiranyakasipu, all the demons fail, because they are not the supreme. And eventually their karmic load destroys them. But they cause great consternation. So what is the solution, you say? Hari Nam Sankirtan. Prabhupada said, you said all these principles I'm saying, maybe not in the same context that I'm saying, but he said you fight the demons by Hari Nam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada told Harikesh, go to Germany and translate the books into German and this and that. Prabhupada, I don't speak German, I don't know anything. Harikesh Maharaj, Prabhupada said, go there, get a flat somewhere in Germany, we'll send you some seed money, and just sit there and chant Hare Krishna. So Harikesh did that. And he did wonderful service. He had problems later on. But he translated thousands and millions of books into Croatian, German, this, Polish, this and that. Keshi Maharaj. We should see that. He had little problems later. But that shows the potency. Prabhupada said, this is what, this is how you fight the demons. Because that is evoking Kṛṣṇa. That is evoking light in human society. And in front of light, the demoniac stupidity of these Rakshasas cannot stand. So actually that's what we should be doing. Big Sankirtan parties. That's what we did in the beginning. In the time of Prabhupada, there was no question of it. Everyone went to Bhagavatam class, everyone went to Bhagavad Gita class, and everyone went on Harinam Sankirtan. Every day. And we sold back to Godhead, we gave out prasadam. That was our main operation. The Back to God magazine was printed 2 million copies every month. 2 million. Dhritarashtra told me. Dhritarashtra is gone now to Kṛṣṇa. But so that is the weapons in our arsenal. Harinam, spiritual knowledge, behaving nicely, austerity. And Prabhupada said, yes, there's going to be some kind of conflagration. And then after that, just like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna got all the demons and killing them all. Sometimes people want to take this side in a ball, this one. No, they're all demons, they're all cow killers, they're all fools and rascals, and they're all getting killed off. And you'll see a collapse of the world. It's very easy to see how it would happen. What is the world now? Everything is on the internet, right? Everything is electronically connected. But what do you do? How do you destroy the internet?
Pull the plug.
You pull the plug. You just explode a huge nuclear bomb, and the EMP, the electromagnetic pulse, burns everything. Your cars, your computers and everything. They're not doing that. They're just killing off all the people here and there, killing them there, killing them there. So it just takes some rogue person that decides, I'm just going to let off the bombs. And then you have everything, all the banking records, everything melted. And everything is under the Supreme Lord's control. So let him do that. But our best contribution is to be like Harikesh. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm not going to be seduced by taking sides, this Rakshasa against this Rakshasa. I'm just going to be dedicated to the absolute truth. And that's what Arjuna was told to do. Name bhakti pranashati. Right? So it starts with the self. You know what I mean? One man. And that's you. That's you. That's you. That's you. We are Vibhinans. We all have our ability to choose and navigate according to our will. So we have to, as they say nowadays, man up or woman up. We have to become strong. And if nobody else is going to do Sankirtan, we'll do Sankirtan with our friends. And if we don't find anyone to do Sankirtan with, we'll do our 16 rounds a day. And we've got Prabhupada's Gita and Bhagavatam, and we'll do that. And then we'll go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And live eternally with Krishna. Is that a good answer? Good enough? Medium. So it's the simple things that Prabhupada taught, you know. They're sublime. Simple and sublime. Spiritual life is very easy. Instead of serving illusion, you serve the absolute truth. Through Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padaseva. You gain attraction through these wonderful things. And if you fall off the bicycle, you get back on. You understand? You become a hero. Like the people in Delhi, 20 people hanging off the side of a bus to go to the factory. That's heroic. I've seen it. I haven't been to Delhi for a while, but I used to see them hanging off this. Look at this endeavor. There's 20 people hanging off the side of the bus every morning going to work. They can't even get a seat in the bus, but they're ready to go through that danger. Why? Because the soul is heroic. We are all heroes. We all have to believe in our own self. We don't want to believe this propaganda that we're just matter and we're good. No, we're all heroic souls. Why? Because Kṛṣṇa is the greatest hero, right? Yes, Madhuri.
I was just going to say, Kṛṣṇa created the demons. To waken us up, to turn towards Kṛṣṇa. Is that what you'd say? We're in this situation in the world, but Kṛṣṇa's created this situation.
Yes, I know your terminology, I know your idea. But ultimately, the demons create their own demonic behavior. We're all architects of our own destiny. And an important point to understand is that we become contaminated, like it says here. The women will become polluted, the men, the varṇa-saṅkaraḥ. The soul is never polluted. Just like you can change the sunlight, but you can't change the sun. So the soul is never contaminated, but the consciousness is polluted by ignorance, bad karma, and so on. But Kṛṣṇa says, Sarva-dharma, surrender to me through the medium of a learned devotee and you'll become purified in that. So we are architects of our own destiny. If we go back to Godhead, it's because we wanted to. We qualified ourselves. Kṛṣṇa does some grab these devotees and pull them back. But it's our desire. Moraye abhilas. Right? I want to go to the spiritual world. So instead of playing yes, no, and right and wrong in the material frame, we have to desire. You see, that's why, like I said earlier, that's the modern psychology. The modern religion is psychology. God is created because we need a father figure. And if we suppress our desires, we'll become neurotic. We don't say suppress your desire. We say start desiring Kṛṣṇa. Start desiring unlimitedly. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram. So, yes, Kṛṣṇa didn't desire the demons. The demons are demons because that's what they've developed through their desire. You understand? You see the point? Just like all of us, we were all chasing. Ultimately, what is asura? Asura is very, I remember years ago reading it, Prabhupada said all materialists are asura. What is an asura? It's materialist. Rakshasa means a violent, psychopathic in modern terms, evil person, dedicatedly. But there's also another class of materialistic people, and they're called Balisha. They're innocent. They want to do the right thing. They're still morally correct, right? So the vast majority of human society is still like that. Therefore you have peace movements. And don't do that. Stop this genocide. Because the people don't want the bad things. Because they're still in the good way. Even animals know what's right and wrong. Right? They have a sense of morality. And it's less, though. So, we can't blame Kṛṣṇa. You understand? That's one of the things that comes out of that kind of analysis. Oh, all this evil is because of Kṛṣṇa.
No, I wasn't blaming Kṛṣṇa. I was saying, what's his plan? Is it part of his plan?
Well, yes. Oh, well, yes. So the plan of the material nature is that eventually the living entity decides this is no good. It's just like the rich people. Some famous movie star, they take all drugs and cocaine and they blow their brains out. And then they go to rehab. I can't go on living like this. So the material world is like that. Yes, you want to enjoy material life. Kṛṣṇa says, yes, do it in a pious way. Then you'll go to Swagaloka with Indra and the Apsaras. There you'll really enjoy. There's no real enjoyment down here. Huh? Huh?
There's no real enjoyment anywhere in material world.
Yes, but there's different degrees of suffering. So the thing is, the more you try to enjoy, for example, simple example, right? The more you drink daru or bombole, or you take bang like everyone is going to be doing or has been doing. Be careful on the road because. But then the bigger the hangover. Is it not true? Right? Whereas if two people wake up in the same apartment block, one wakes up, oh, I feel good, I think I'll do my stretches. And the next flat, one man wakes up and he says, oh, I'll never drink again. Right? But because we're conditioned, you see, when we perform material activities, the secondary effect is we become conditioned to do it again. Therefore, varṇāśrama, the duties and advice is discipline. Yes, eat nicely. It's a hunger. You want sex? Have a good wife. But don't mistreat her. Treat her as a goddess. Do everything in a disciplined way. We don't say everyone sit under a tree. This is what Arjuna's proposed. I want to run away to it. No, do everything, satisfy the material desires in a regulated way in relationship to the Supreme Lord. But in Kali Yuga, it's the Rakshasas. Kali appeared as a manager, as a king, beating Dharma, killing the cow. So Prabhupada always emphasized this. Even Tolstoy, he was a vegetarian. He said, as long as there are slaughterhouses, people will be slaughtered in wars. So in an interview in Australia with lawyers, Prabhupada said, look, if you want to eat meat, okay, eat a goat or a sheep or a camel. But don't eat your mother. Right? That's what Prabhupada said. The cow, if you kill the cow, that's very serious problem. The cow is one of the mothers, 7 mothers, one of them is the cow. So you become demoniac, you lose your piety. And you're not just going, in the Vedic, the Sanskrit word for meat is mangsa. That means you are killing me, I'm killing the goat now. In the next life, the goat will be killing me. Now I'm eating you. Next life, you're going to be eating me. But if you kill your mother, even in human society, God forbid, it's even horrible to think. But if people do that, everyone is, or, exploit children, then everyone is disgusted. So everyone has morality, truth within the soul. It's covered by material conditioning. So if people learn to chant, to become absorbed in spiritual knowledge, that, just like, for example, more powerful than any police force is the law of karma. You understand? Because if I really understand the law of karma, I steal your smartphone. The monkeys don't think like this. But I steal your smartphone, that means in the future, somebody's going to steal my smartphone. Right? Once you understand the law of karma, then you think, I'm not going to spread rumor and gossip because that'll come back on me. Right? Whereas even in material society, they say, what goes around comes around. Right? Karma is a little more detailed than that, but basically it's correct. Action and reaction. So people create their own situation, but the way to get them out of it is to teach them. This is the law of karma. And the material energy is such, like I gave the example last week, that if you sit near the fire in a dark forest, the animals don't bother you, right? You're in light, you have heat. But you go away from the fire, right? And the animals come out at night and start hunting each other. The darkness drives you back, right? To the fire. So the material energy has two functions. It fulfills the material desires, but then it also has the function of making the person satiated with material. But that satiation will be understood better when the person is situated in knowledge. So therefore the most important thing in human society is the Vedic knowledge. Laws of karma, the laws of morality, varṇāśrama, the duties of a man to a woman, the woman to a man, man to the children, to society. There's Prabhupada touches upon it in the Purport. That will make society self-regulating. You understand? Because it's society made up of individuals. So if that society is not varṇa-saṅkaraḥ, but it is enlightened people that all have a certain level of spiritual knowledge, then the whole society will be regulated, self-regulated. Understand? Just like our ISKCON society, bad things happen. But generally the devotees, they're chanting, they're doing things nicely, they have faith in Kṛṣṇa, and they know things will work out if I stick with it. You understand? So yes, when you see the materialists, they may be sitting, the mafia boss, he may be sitting in his Mercedes Benz, but it says in the 3rd canto that the materialist, the sinful person, the money he earns through nefarious activities, duskritina, miscreant, buys him a ticket to Narak. Right? And often Kṛṣṇa, this is the point that Kṛṣṇa keeps his devotees in a kind of materially, he gives them enough to live on, but he doesn't give them too much so that they become degraded. You understand? So Kṛṣṇa supports his devotees, but he's very careful. He's like a father, right? A good father doesn't give $1 million to a 10-year-old, right? So these are all points to understand. You understand that a Narak, also that's also the man-made religion. You'll go to hell forever. but actually you'll go to hell to pay off your karmic debts. And you'll go to hell. Before a soul goes to hell, that soul, he or she or whatever them, is told by Yamaraj, you know, there's a life review, and then the person experiences the pain he caused to others, you know, or this woman goes, and also sees the joy that he gave to others. So he becomes enlightened in that way. So the material energy educates the soul to behave properly, and then from the proper behavior he can think, niskinchana akinchana, I have no material aspiration now. I'm going to go back to Godhead. And then he can attain eternal life, full of bliss and knowledge. Soul is eternal. So even the most sinful people, like Napoleon or Stalin or whatever, that killed hundreds, Mao Zedong, that killed millions and billions of people with their crazy ideas, eventually they come round, but they have to suffer. They have to learn. That's called learning the hard way, right? But learning the easy way is to have a spiritual master, study the Shastra, study the Acharyas. So Krishna says in the Gita, even at the hour of death, somebody who surrenders to me, I will take him. So Krishna is unlimitedly merciful. Lord Chaitanya embodies that. And so the material nature naturally makes the living entity fatigued with this material world. Is that right, Prabhu? We become fatigued. I drank too much daru, bombole. No, I'm going to not do it ever again until the next festival. It's in a few weeks, Holi. So, but through knowledge, we discipline ourselves, you see. Therefore, the distribution, as Prabhupada often put it, of spiritual knowledge is the greatest welfare work. And even Prabhupada once, the daughter of Shamsundar and Malati, there was a young daughter, they had a Saraswati, a little daughter. And it was, you know, there was a conversation going on, some guest there. And Saraswati, she was a little girl, and she said to the guest, Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada said, this is Guru. Alright? It's very simple. If you want to know, you just know sadhya. What is the goal? Kṛṣṇa. What is sadhana? That's the other part of religion. Chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada's book, Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada's brilliance is to put everything clearly. Isn't it? That is the brilliant quality of Prabhupada's books. It's just so clear and to the point that it's just amazing. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Sadhu Sangha Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Thank you for your kind attention. By your grace, I'm able to say something. And don't make it a rumor that I'm going to bum bum ballet